Part 1. A New Beginning in London. My name is Arya. I am a student from Italy. I came to London to learn English. I want to speak English clearly and with confidence. Learning a new language is not easy, but I am ready to try. London is a big city. It is full of history, culture, and many different people. I was both nervous and excited to come here. This is a new chapter in my life. When I arrived at the airport, I felt a little scared. Everything was new. The signs were in English. People spoke fast. I could not understand everything, but I tried to listen. I told myself, this is the beginning. Just take one step at a time. I picked up my suitcase and followed the signs to the train station. My heart was beating fast, but I smiled. I was in London now. On the train, I sat near the window. The train moved quickly through the city. I saw tall buildings, red buses, green parks, and many people walking. Everything looked so different from my town in Italy. Two men sat across from me. They were talking in English. I listened to their voices. I didn't understand all the words, but I recognized some. It was like a puzzle. I wanted to understand more. After a few minutes, one of the men smiled at me. I took a deep breath. I was nervous, but I wanted to speak. I said, "Hello, my name is Arya." My voice was quiet, but they heard me. The man smiled and said, "Hello, Arya." That simple moment made me feel very happy. I had spoken English to someone, and they understood me. I felt proud. Later, I arrived at the place where I would live. It was a small apartment in a quiet street. I unpacked my things and looked around. Everything was clean and nice. I was tired, but I wanted to go outside. I wanted to see more of the city and try to use English again. I walked to a nearby supermarket to buy some food. I looked at the signs and labels. I read words like milk, bread, and eggs. I put a few things in my basket. At the counter, the cashier smiled. I smiled back and said, "Thank you." It was a small word, but it felt powerful. I was speaking English in real life. It gave me more courage. After shopping, I stopped at a small cafe. I wanted to try ordering something simple. I looked at the menu. I chose tea and a slice of cake. I went to the counter and said, "I would like tea and cake, please." The person behind the counter smiled and gave me my order. I said, "Thank you again." I sat down and enjoyed my food. It felt nice. I was not just learning English in a classroom. I was using it in the real world. That evening, I walked around the streets near my apartment. The city lights were bright. People were talking and laughing. I could hear English everywhere. I listened carefully. I did not understand everything, but I picked up a few words. Every word I understood felt like a small victory. When I got home, I took out a notebook. I decided to write a short journal in English. I wrote, "Today, I arrived in London." I spoke English 3 times. I said hello. I said thank you. I asked for tea and cake. I feel proud. It was a short journal, but it was special to me. Before I went to sleep, I looked at myself in the mirror. I smiled. I told myself, "Arya, you did well today. Tomorrow you will do more." I made a promise. I will speak 5 English sentences every day. They can be small, but I will say them. I will learn little by little. That was my first day in London. It was full of new things, new people, and new words. I know there will be hard days, but I also know I am strong. I believe in myself. This is a new beginning, and I am ready for it. Part 2. My first English class and new friends. The next day was my first day at English school. I woke up early because I was both excited and a little nervous. I got dressed in my favorite blue jeans and a white t-shirt. I wanted to feel good and comfortable. I ate a quick breakfast with toast and tea, then picked up my bag and left the apartment. The school was not far. I walked fast because I did not want to be late. As I walked, I saw new things, shops, signs in English, and people talking on the street. When I arrived at the school, I saw a big building with many windows and flowers outside. It looked friendly and clean. I walked inside and saw other students. Some were sitting quietly, others were laughing and talking. I felt shy, but I smiled. Maybe today I would make a new friend. Soon, I found my classroom. It was large and bright. There were many desks and chairs. On the wall, I saw posters with English words and pictures. I looked at them and started to learn right away. A few minutes later, our teacher walked in. Her name was Miss Brown. She was tall and had curly brown hair. She smiled at us and said, "Good morning, everyone." Her voice was calm and friendly. We all said, "Good morning, Miss Brown." I liked her right away. She made me feel welcome. Miss Brown told us that we would learn many things in the class. We would speak, listen, read, and write in English. She said, "Don't worry about mistakes. We are here to learn. Mistakes help us grow." That made me feel better. I was afraid of making mistakes, but now I knew it was okay. We began with greetings. We practiced saying, "Hello, how are you?" and "I'm fine, thank you." We said these words to the students next to us. I turned to the girl beside me and said, "Hello, how are you?" She smiled and said, "I'm fine, thank you." "And you?" I said. "I'm fine too." Her name was Anna. She was from Spain. She was kind and friendly. We laughed a little because our voices sounded funny when we spoke in English. But we helped each other. Next, we played a game called Word Bingo. Miss Brown gave us cards with pictures and English words. She said a word, and we had to find it on our card. If we had the word, we marked it. It was fun and helped me learn fast. I won one round, and everyone clapped. I felt proud. Later, it was time for lunch. We went to the school cafeteria. It was a big room with many tables and chairs. There were sandwiches, fruits, and drinks. I chose a chicken sandwich and an apple. I paid for the food and said, "Thank you" to the lady at the counter. She smiled at me. I sat at a table with Anna and a boy named Marco. He was from Brazil. We talked in English. Slowly but with courage. Anna said, "I like London. The people are kind." Marco said, "I want to see Big Ben." I said, "I want to go to the British Museum." We shared our favorite places and dreams. We helped each other with words and smiled a lot. I was happy. I was making friends, and I was speaking English. After lunch, we went back to class. Miss Brown taught us about colors. She held up cards with different colors and said, "Red, blue, yellow." We repeated each word. It was easy and fun. We pointed to things in the room and named their colors. I saw a green book, a blue pen, and a red bag. At the end of the day, Miss Brown said, "You all did a great job today. I'm proud of you." I smiled. I felt tired, but also strong. I had learned many new words. I had spoken English. I had made new friends. Before I left, I said, "Goodbye, Miss Brown." And she said, "Goodbye, Arya. See you tomorrow." I walked home with a happy heart. I thought about my day and smiled. That night, I wrote in my journal, "Today, I spoke more English than ever before. I made 2 friends. I learned about greetings, colors, and played games. I was scared, but I did it. I feel stronger now." Learning English is not just about books and grammar. It is about people, smiles, and trying again and again. I am not afraid anymore. I am learning and I am growing. Part 3. Discovering London and Speaking with Confidence. It was Saturday morning. I had no classes that day. The sun was shining and the sky was blue. It was a perfect day to go out and see more of London. I wanted to explore the city and practice my English. On Friday night, I wrote a small plan in my notebook. I wrote in English, first, visit Big Ben. Second, go to the British Museum. Third, try something new. I smiled when I finished writing. I was ready for my adventure. I took my bag, my camera, and my notebook. I walked to the bus stop and waited. A red double-decker bus arrived. I got on and sat upstairs. From the top of the bus, I could see many things: shops, restaurants, people walking, and cars on the road. It was exciting to see the city moving. After a short ride, I arrived near Big Ben. The clock tower was tall and beautiful. Many people were standing around and taking pictures. I took a few pictures too. I listened to people around me. Some spoke English. I heard someone say, "It's my first time here." Another person said, "Let's take a photo." I smiled and wrote those sentences in my notebook. I wanted to remember them. I walked a little more and saw signs to the British Museum. I followed them. Along the way, I saw people selling postcards, drinks, and small gifts. A few times I stopped and said, "How much is this?" The sellers answered in English. I listened carefully. Even if I didn't understand every word, I got the meaning. I thanked them and continued walking. When I arrived at the British Museum, I saw a big building with tall columns. It looked amazing. At the entrance, I asked the security guard, "Is this the museum?" He smiled and said, "Yes, enjoy your visit." I felt proud. I had used English again. Inside the museum, I saw many interesting things: ancient statues, old coins, and art from different countries. There were signs with information. I read them slowly. Some words were new, but I tried to understand. I whispered the words to myself. I felt like I was learning English in a new way. I saw children with their parents. Some were reading the signs out loud. I listened and learned. After visiting the museum, I sat on a bench outside to rest. I drank some water and looked at my notes. Suddenly, I saw a small group of people sitting in the park. They had books and cars. They looked friendly. One girl waved at me and said, "Would you like to join us?" I was surprised but happy. "Yes," I said. I walked over and sat with them. They were an English conversation group. They met every Saturday in the park. I told them my name and that I was from Italy. They smiled and introduced themselves too. There were students from many countries. We started playing a game. One person had to describe a word without saying it. The others had to guess the word. When it was my turn, I said, "It is red." "It is big. You can ride it." Someone shouted, "Bus." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. It felt good to use English in a fun way. I also told a short story about my visit to Big Ben. I made some mistakes, but no one laughed. They listened and helped me. One girl said, "You speak very well, Arya." I felt happy and more confident. Before I left, they invited me to join again next week. I said yes. I was excited to have a group where I could practice speaking in a friendly way. On my way home, I passed a small library. I went inside and asked the librarian, "Do you have easy English books?" She smiled and showed me a special shelf. I picked a book called The Magic Cat. It looked fun. I borrowed the book and promised myself I would read 5 pages every night. That evening, I sat in my room with the book in my hands. I opened it and started reading slowly. I didn't understand every word, but I followed the story. I looked up 1 or 2 words in my dictionary. I felt like I was doing something big. I was reading in English. Before I went to bed, I wrote in my notebook, "Today I saw Big Ben. I visited a museum. I spoke with people. I joined a group. I read a book in English. I feel proud." Learning English is not just about school. It is also about life. It is about trying, speaking, listening, and never giving up. I know I will learn more every day. This is just the beginning of my journey. Arya came to London with one big dream: to learn English. She was nervous in the beginning. Everything was new. The city, the people, the language, all were different from her home in Italy. But Arya did not give up. She took small steps every day. She spoke her first English words on the train. She went to the supermarket and ordered tea in a cafe. These small moments gave her courage. In her first English class, She met her teacher Miss Brown and made new friends like Anna and Marco. She learned simple words, colors, and greetings. She played games, listened, and practiced speaking. Arya saw that making mistakes was okay. Mistakes helped her grow. Then, she started exploring London. She visited Big Ben and the British Museum. She asked for help, listened to people, and used new words in real life. She joined a small English group in the park and spoke with students from many countries. She even borrowed an English book from the library and began reading at home. Step by step, Arya became more confident. Her journey showed us that learning English is not just about school. It is about real life. It is about trying every day. It is about using English to connect, explore, and enjoy the world. So, what is the lesson from Arya's story? The lesson is simple. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to try. Start with small words. Say, hello. Ask a question. Read a page. Over time, small steps become big progress. Don't be afraid to speak. Be proud of yourself for learning. You are stronger than you think. If Arya can do it, you can do it too. Congratulations! You finished the full story and improved your English listening and reading skills. We are proud of you. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel to support us and get more stories like this. Also, if you want to help us continue making free English content, please consider donating. In the beginning, it is very hard to make high-quality content, and we are doing this for free to help you learn English better. Thank you for being here. Keep learning. Keep believing. See you in the next story.